All right, so hear me out. I started my personal brand in 2018. And to those of you who know me, this might come as a surprise because most of you always told me that I have like one of the most swag Instagrams in the online business space. But anyway, this might come as a surprise. I never found personal branding natural. It never came natural to me. I'm a pretty quiet person and I enjoy my privacy. However, I will say that, it was significantly easier to share my lifestyle and build my personal brand. Well, to be public about everything and all my results and all the lavish stuff when I was just getting started and when I was just like making my first real money, because I guess I wanted to prove to the world that I had made it. I was the definition of new money. I was experiencing everything for the first time. The watches, the cars, the 5-star hotels, the Michelin restaurants, and everything else in between. And as I said, I just wanted to share that with the world. I wanted to prove that I had made it. But after a few years of living that, I guess you could say I've transitioned to a more old money, or just a more private way of life and way of personal branding. Because I don't find any pleasure in like sharing the crazy stuff anymore, sharing the lavish lifestyles and showing off on social media. I really don't like doing it. But anyway, let's get to the point. It seems that anywhere you look nowadays, people are telling you to start a personal brand and grow it to hundreds of thousands of followers and maybe even launch a course. And honestly, that's a pretty great idea if you're extroverted, you enjoy creating content for the masses, you have something to teach in a course, and well, I guess, yeah, you just enjoy creating content for the masses. That's what it takes to grow a big personal brand. But what if building a huge personal brand is not for you? Can you still make $10,000 online per month or more than that? Yes, it just takes a specific service value proposition and then building a micro, like ultra targeted micro personal brand around that. Now, before you think, what the hell is that? Let me explain. Building a personal brand, at least to me, stops being fun when it starts being about proving something to the world. Like, my lifestyle is great. Unless, of course, you have that super extroverted influencer personality. But, if you're not like that, which I am not either, which again might come as a surprise to some of you, then I'm willing to bet that you'd still find it like really fulfilling and fun creating a micro personal brand that serves a very specific purpose and a very specific mission. A personal brand where you're not looking at your follower, like, or view count. Because, let's admit it, I think the part that scares a lot of us away from growing a huge personal brand is, the fear of being some kind of public figure that needs to prove something to the world and will get judged for it as well, right? But what if you could just have a small, calm, and super valuable micro personal brand? One that isn't flashy or huge. So let's take an example, right? So if you imagine that your business, whether perhaps it's a service-based business, let's imagine that it's a coffee shop, right? And then your micro personal brand is the storefront for that coffee shop. I actually love this coffee shop analogy. I got it from one of my old students, Frederick, who made a whole YouTube video about this, picturing that your online consulting business is like a coffee shop. Anyway, you can picture that your micro personal brand is just a friendly, welcoming storefront for your service-based business. The point is that you're not doing aggressive marketing or trying to, capture the masses by showing off this flashy lifestyle. You're just quietly posting about the work you're doing on media like LinkedIn. And while you're not caring about the view count or the like count, let me give you an example. Okay, so I'm going to pull this guy up. So Rasmus, he is an old student of mine, a longtime student of mine, and he's running an IPGA. Right, so essentially he helps people create, launch, and scale profitable online courses, which is what I do too, and it's what I teach people how to do. And Rasmus doesn't have a huge personal brand, right? He has how many followers on LinkedIn? Okay, 3,200. But honestly, on LinkedIn, it's not that much. It's really good. This 3,000 followers is probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth because these are high value followers. The point is, look at his posts, right? They're getting like 14 likes, 7 likes. Essentially, he's just posting about his work without caring about how many likes or views it's going to get. He's just working with clients and posting about it on a platform like LinkedIn where, his target group is active every day. And just so you understand how well it's going for somebody like Rasmus, I'm just going to read you, I'm just going to find this win screenshot that he posted the other day. So Rasmus said, the past 5 days have been crazy. All right, I've been running my IPGA full time since November. Last month I made $12,000. In the past 5 days I've secured setup fees totaling $16,000. The profit share agreements range from 15 to 30%. And I've hired my full-time employee and leased my own 20 square meter office. Everything is possible in the IPGA space. Now, the reason I read that screenshot to you is because Rasmus doesn't have a huge personal brand, but he's able to sign a lot of clients through his micro personal brand by creating a cool little storefront for his consulting, like a cool little storefront for his online coffee shop, as Frederick would put it. And I think that's so cool because, again, to all of you, to all of us who are not like extremely extroverted and don't enjoy, showing off our watches. I'm one to say that, right? That's crazy that I'm saying that. Anyway, to people who feel like that, I'm willing to bet that you'd still find it really fun to build a micro personal brand, where you're just sharing insights from your work, from your everyday life, and just building a valuable following like that. Oh, I also want to show you this guy. I stumbled across this guy the other day. He's also grown like a really targeted, great audience on LinkedIn, right? So he has 5K followers, almost 6K followers, but again, if you look at his posts, he's only getting like 23 likes, 12 likes. I just stumbled across this guy randomly. He popped up on my LinkedIn feed. And so basically what he does is he helps people with personal branding on LinkedIn, right? And so he's essentially niched down around one thing that he's really good at, which is using LinkedIn as a customer acquisition channel. And then he's just posting about that work on his LinkedIn, and that sort of creates this flywheel effect of just clients coming into his inbox. So inbound leads all the time from a micro personal brand, where you're literally getting like less than 20 likes per post. You don't need hundreds of thousands of followers, or even tens of thousands of followers, or even thousands of followers to like have a really valuable micro personal brand. All it takes is just being super targeted in your mission. If you do that consistently on a platform like LinkedIn, then I guarantee your inbox will be flooded with inbound leads that are willing to pay you for your services. So forget about posting the fancy content on Instagram. I also think it used to work better in the past than it does now. Like nowadays we can kind of look through it, right? We don't really care about the fancy lifestyle Instagram profiles anymore, at least not in my opinion. So just picture your social media, like your LinkedIn profile, like the storefront of a cozy one-man coffee shop consulting store. And if you have that mindset, I think it'll be a lot easier for you to build a personal brand if you're not trying to impress the whole world. Anyway, so that's all great, right? But what's next? Well, you gotta have a service to sell. And so if you already know what service you're selling or trying to sell, well then great, you can just quit this video right now and just go and build your micro personal brand on a platform like LinkedIn and get more customers in the door. However, if you don't know what to do, if you don't have a service to offer, then well, building a personal brand is not going to be worth much, because if you have nothing to sell, then you're not going to make any money from it. So in that case, let me give you a recommendation, or in other words, let me tell you what I do in my own personal one-man coffee consulting shop. Crazy. Essentially, well, I do what Rasmus that I showed you before, who's one of my students, I do the same thing. I help experts turn their existing expertise into scalable online course businesses. I help my clients create, launch, and scale valuable courses, and they make millions from it. And I take a cut of that. So it's a pretty good business, and you can do it too. Essentially, we help our clients with coming up with the right business strategy. So strategizing everything from offer structure to product structure, pricing, etc. And then I help them actually on how to craft the course contents and the recording, which that's not part of my core value proposition. I can guide them on that, but usually we just outsource that part in terms of the recording and stuff. And obviously the material has to come from the client themselves. And then we build out high converting sales funnels for the clients, which of course we entirely manage and operate, so it's hands off for them. And finally, of course, we scale the clients' courses through these sales funnels that we build for them. We do that with a good mix of organic and paid marketing strategies. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into detail with that. I have other videos explaining that in great detail. Actually, if you want to learn more about IPGA, you can watch the video I made recently called my $80,000 a month side business. It's a great video. I put a lot of work into it. But anyway, I think the main point I want to get across in this video is, if you don't feel like building out a huge personal brand with this flashy lifestyle, hundreds of thousands of followers, then don't. But I still think you should start a micro personal brand where you just focus on providing valuable mini insights into the work you do and sharing that with the world. And you'd be surprised, people think you need thousands of likes to get one customer in the door. It couldn't be further from the truth. Sure, if you're posting basic, flashy influencer stuff, then you might only get one customer in the door for every 10,000 followers or 10,000 likes. However, you'd be surprised to find out that these people, like the ones I just showed you, people that are literally only getting 10, 20, 30 likes per post, they're getting hundreds of inbound leads because they're posting valuable stuff about something very specific. And that's what you should be doing too. Trust me, there are thousands of quiet, introverted, highly private individuals out there that are making 10, 20, $30,000 per month, running a one-man service-based consulting business with a micro personal brand. like the ones I just showed you. So step one is, nail down your offer. And if you don't have one yet, then learn one. And then the step two, I would say, is, really hustle and do whatever it takes to get your first few clients. It might be a little bit uphill. If you don't have any clients or case studies yet, just hustle for a couple weeks until you get your first paying client. And then go all in on creating amazing results for that client. Because as soon as you have tangible results that you've created for one client that you can then share again on your micro personal brand, then it will be like a flywheel and an exponential effect of more and more inbound leads coming in. Because as soon as you've proven that you can do it for one person, well, more people will want you to do it for them as well. It's really simple. It really is. Create a micro personal brand, focus on a specific value proposition, get your first customer, deliver amazing results, use that case study as leverage to sign more clients and make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per month. You can do that while living a private, introverted life, building a valuable micro personal brand. I really wanted to get this off my chest today because too many people overcomplicate, and you shouldn't overcomplicate. You should just get started. It's all it takes. And as a matter of fact, that was actually step 3 that I had written down in my bullet points, which is don't overcomplicate. Just enjoy the freedom of running a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, one-man online consulting coffee business. Okay, I'm going to stop saying coffee shop. One-man consulting shop, essentially, while just posting calm and valuable posts on a platform like LinkedIn and creating a flywheel of incoming inbound leads and referrals. So that was all I had to tell you today. I really hope you take action on this and don't overcomplicate, just get started. See you in the next one. Bye.